Alrighty, we are back to discuss this patch. I was going to do it before the stream, but I just didn't have a lot of time. I was trying to deal with my computer that power surge and all that nonsense. So here we are, right after I did by daylight. This will take a little while, but not too long, just to give you a general view of it. It's actually quite a few changes. Nothing's tremendously different, but they're balanced patches more than anything else. So just a change to, you know, how good or bad something is versus a mechanical change. So no item changes at all, and no global changes. It's all heroes, which is interesting to say the least. Batrider. Sticky Napalm cast range was reduced at earlier levels. This is a huge nerf to Batrider. Batrider needs to get Sticky Napalm on you, and now he has to be much closer to do so. So now you're going to be trading right clicks from ranged heroes before you even get in Sticky Napalm range. So it's still a good ability. I'm not going to say it's going to ruin Batrider, but this is going to prevent him from safely putting Napalm on from like a mile away. And it also hurts when Batrider's trying to chase. He can't cast Sticky Napalm from a mile away to try to give you that movement slow debuff, even though he's like really far from you. So it's harder for those chases. Bloodseeker got a base armor increase. This is actually putting his armor into pretty tremendous early game. It's really hard to trade right clicks with Bloodseeker now. He just does so much damage. This is going to really help his just carry potential in general. Rupture now has a 0.25 second cooldown rather than 0 seconds to help with misuse. This is just a quality of life, realistically speaking. I don't think that it's going to like dramatically change anything balance wise. Bounty Hunter, one of the heroes that I'm happy about. Base health regen was increased to be more than double what it is. This means that Bounty Hunter is actually going to be able to get by when he's roaming with less regen carried, or he'll just be at higher health more often. It makes it a lot easier for Bounty to trade hits in lane and not like just die for it. It's a pretty big change. I like this a lot. Shuriken cost, toss cooldown went down. That's just nice because it makes it easier for Bounty Hunter to get those nukes down and have them ready again. It's going to increase his DPS, technically speaking. So I like this a lot. Double Edge base damage went down. That's because Double Edge is pretty strong when you start getting a lot of like right-clicky items. It only hurt the early levels though, so it's harder for him to really use this in lane effectively with Retaliate. And Stampede costs more at later levels. That's just because he should have to have some sort of mana item. He just will buy one, don't get me wrong. It's just like something that he should have to have, so it's just kind of necessitating that he needs to buy something that gives him mana pool. Hand of God was nerfed just a little bit at the earlier levels. I think it's because it's just too much of a heal at level 6 to give 300 health to your entire team. It's not a huge nerf. It's just enough to make it like a little bit of a painful, you know, nerf. Divine Favor active cooldown was also increased at earlier levels. Divine Favor's active cooldown is the one that teleports people to Chen. So, I mean, that's fine. I just think it's nice to see that early game Chen can't just save people from danger all the time. It just isn't a longer cooldown. Klink's got one of my most annoyed changes. I hate it. His strength gain went up, so he's even tankier and harder to kill. His agility gain did go down, which means he has a little bit less armor and damage and attack speed, but not enough to really matter. 0.3 means after 10 levels he has 3 less, so after 20 levels he has 6 less. So, you know, around level 20, like, what is it? It's 7.5? I think it's 7.5 less agility at 25, which means 7.5 less attack speed, 7.5, well, about 1 less armor, and 7.5 less damage, which doesn't matter that much considering that he's tankier. And Burning Army's spawn interval was improved so that they come out faster. Like, cool, awesome. Darkseer's base movement speed was reduced by 5. This is just because his ability is so strong anyway, so it's just like a little way to hurt him. His base strength was reduced too, so he's a little bit less tanky. That's 20 health off the top, right from level 1. This is a nice change because Darkseer is really strong actually, so it's nice to see him get a nerf. Brahma May's cooldown was reduced from 25 to 20. That's actually a tremendously different cooldown. I love this. This is going to help her at all stages of the game. This means it's easier to save your teammates in lane and still have it like ready sooner. This also means in late game during team fights, she actually may get a second Bramble Maze because 25 seconds is kind of unreasonable for a team fight in most cases. 20 is a little bit closer to the realm of maybe getting a second Bramble off. So this is a huge change. I love this. This is like a big change to Dark Below, just like having it ready to use when it's needed. Dazzle buffed the cast range tremendously. That's nice. It's a quality of life. That's not a big deal. It just helps a lot by him being able to cast Shallow Grave and stuff. And the Shadow Wave heal and damage was increased to 15 commensurately. That's fine. I mean, it's nice. Disruptor got a 25 attack range increase. This is actually really big because Disruptor is one of the better supports in the mid game because his ult's really strong. Glimpse is really good for getting people out of position, and Kinetic Field's really strong for getting people out of position. But just seeing him get an increase to his attack range means he can trade better in lane 2. So like Disruptor's not as helpful until he has a couple skill points, realistically speaking, a couple levels. But now that he has the attack range, he can trade better with other supports from longer, a longer distance. So this is a really nice thing to see. I don't think it's going to dramatically change the hero, but I like it. Marksmanship bonus damage is now treated as regular single instance of damage that can be crit. That means that, instead of just being like I deal the damage and crit. Oh, didn't I? I did. I'll update it again. You probably have to refresh in Furry if you've been in the chat. It usually makes you refresh before it changes the stream title. But it is changed. No, it's fine. It happens. People say that all the time. It's not just you. So basically, now instead of it being just like you get dealt this damage and any crit or whatever, and then the damage, it can be crit. I believe it can be lifesteal then too. I believe. But either way, now that it can crit, we used to do 120. It's really nice because like a 2x crit or something is an extra 120 damage. That's a pretty big buff actually. In addition to that, the damage goes up as you level, which is not huge, but it matters. This is going to really make her just do more damage. It's not changing anything else about the hero, just more damage more or less, which is nice. I think she needs it after the big nerf. Acceptor now reduces mana cost to 25 instead of 0. This means that if you mana out Ember, he cannot use his ult. This is a huge nerf. The buff he received was way too strong. I am very happy about this. He should not be able to cast it with no mana. So this is crazy. Searing Chains does less damage earlier. That means that he can't get kills as early in the game with Searing Chains maxed. This actually means I might not max Searing Chains when I'm playing like a greedy Ember Spirit. I might decide to go a different build. And the change to lower his Remnants charge time got nerfed, so instead of negative 25, it's negative 20. That's nice too, to see him like less likely just to like be crazy with his Remnants. Base armor increased in Enchantress. She can trade better in the off lane, where she's often played. That's a really big change for her because she's already really good at trading thanks to her passive. Nature's Attendant's heal per wisp was increased as well, which means she's going to heal herself and teammates a lot more. I like that a lot. Because she sends how many wisps? So at first level is the same, obviously. Second level, since it's 6 wisps and increased by 1, she increases 6 total health more, right? No, sorry, it's per wisp. So that's not a big deal. No real change. Level 3, it's 8 times 2, so it's 16 more health, which is, at that point, it's, I guess, not really a big deal. At the max level, it's 10 times 3, so it's 30 more health from the wisps. That, I would argue, is notable. It's not huge, but it's notable. It'll make it easier for Enchantress to just like use efficient mana to get health. Black Hole costs more at all levels. This is a pretty big nerf to Enigma. It makes it harder for him to cast his other abilities and still have Black Hole available to him. This makes Soul Ring probably pretty essential for Enigma, in addition to having mana boots. Eidolon damage talent went down because it was too good for pushing. The number of extra Eidolons you get went down as well because it's too good for pushing. So this is a nice nerf to his pushing strategy. I think this is needed. Enigma's a pretty strong hero in the offlane for his denying and stuff. Soulbind slow was reduced, so it's always 10%. This is really nice because I thought it was too high of a slow considering what else it does to the heroes. So to see the slow go down at the later levels is really nice. I think Grimstoke's ult was a little bit too strong, realistically speaking, especially for its cooldown not being that high. So I like this a lot. Inner fire damage was increased at later levels. The damage is notable. I mean, that's 45 damage at max level in a nuke on 11-second cooldown is actually like pretty good. I think this is a very nice change. I think that Absolution will love this too. It just means that as Huskar, you can go aggro more, and like this might actually kill a support. Like it already could kill a support, but it's even more likely. That's just a lot of damage. So I like that a lot. It's also more normal. I hate when they have like weird things like plus 55, plus 55, plus 55. Like plus 70 just makes sense. The Cold Snap cooldown talent got even better by 3 seconds. This means Cold Snap's up all the time. I wanted to see, just for clarification, what is the cooldown normally. Invoker. So his Cold Snap normally, I can't even see because of this. You can't see his things. Hold on. And Furry, can you look up what Cold Snap's cooldown is for me since you're here? And his alacrity, damage, and speed went up by 5. That's a nice change, I guess, to right-click Invoker, but that's not really a huge thing. This is much bigger. A 3-second cooldown off of the already ridiculous cooldown of Cold Snap means you can use it all the time. Like, all the time. On top of that, his other talent is, no, never mind. It's not high enough. It's actually crazy. Like, Invoker's cooldown is so stupid. I think his cooldown's 22 seconds, I believe. I'm checking right now just because I'm impatient. Cold Snap's cooldown is 20 seconds. So, 20 seconds minus 15 is a 5-second cooldown. They actually haven't updated that yet. That's a 5-second cooldown on Cold Snap that lasts for 6 seconds. 6.5 with Ags, but that's a max level, of course, but... So, it's down to 5 seconds cooldown. That's crazy. That's actually nuts. Because now it's gone into the realm, before the max was 6.5, 20, so you could not keep Cold Snap infinitely on someone before. Now you can, unless they debuff themselves. Cold Snap will be forever on you if he has the mana. That's crazy. Wisp got rid of the Tether Grant Scepter bonus because it's too strong to grant a, you know, the Scepter because it's cost so much money. 4,200. Technically, it just gives you the blessing, so it's 6,200, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. It's too strong, so instead they made it armor, which is kind of nice. It's nice to have armor, but this is a huge nerf. That was a big part of Wisp strategy, was to give people quick ags and stuff, because before you could be like, oh, Luna ult, while you're attached to her. Okay, Luna ults, and she has the ags benefit. Once Luna's ult's done, you know, attach yourself to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a hero with a big ult. Better. Earthshaker first. You have an Earthshaker, and you give him it so he can initiate. He does his initiation, whatever. You made sure that you were tethered enough that the tether cooldown is, like, ready or whatever. You immediately jump on Luna. You have her ult. And then, like, I don't know, like, realistically anything. Like, even, like, the fight's going well. You attach yourself to Chen. Oh, wait, Chen's ult doesn't do that, does it? His Ags. Never mind. You just attach yourself to anybody. It doesn't even matter. Like, it's just crazy. Like, you just keep bouncing back and forth. So it's nice to see that gone. Huge nerf. Chakra Magic cooldown reduction for the ability that the abilities it hits went up by 1 second, down by 1 second, whatever. So it's buffed. So now if it's max level, it takes 7 seconds off the cooldown, which is really big actually. That's like huge. They're buffing Chakra Magic because I think it needs it. It's a good ability, but I think that's a very nice change. Will-O-Wisp unit move speed was up by 10. That means when units walk at the Will-O-Wisp, they're moved a little bit faster to it, or whatever. I think. My understanding anyway. I believe so. Let's see. That's minor. Nobody cares about the Will-O-Wisp, I don't think. It's gonna change. It's gonna make people a little closer to the middle, I guess, making it harder to escape, but it's minor. Sinister Gaze cooldown was reduced pretty dramatically at late levels. That's 3 seconds off, which is very nice. Cast range buff needed. Frost Shield duration for the talent. That's a really big talent, actually. I love that. 3 seconds to Frost Shield is too big to pass up, I think. I don't think I would take anything else. The 200 cast range is nice, but no. The debuff that it gives is actually crazy. Like, you know, Lich's Frost Shield does a 60% damage reduction, a slow and an AoE of 35, and damage of 50 per tick for 6 seconds. Already. On a 15-second cooldown. So instead of 6 seconds, it's going to last for 9 seconds. That's like too big, in my opinion. That's like too much. That's a long duration for 60% damage reductions. That's so too big. Luna's talents are better. Instead of, you know, just a little more attack speed, some cast range, a better lifesteal. That's just nice, I guess. I don't know if she needed it necessarily, but they're kind of minor in the large scale. Mars... his talent for damage got reduced because I think his combos are a little bit too strong with being able to, like, instantly do giant crits and stuff. Yeah, Lich is really good, Andy. Mirana got a slight buff. It's really minor, though. Just early game leap charge replenish time. Late game, it doesn't really matter so much. It just helps her take, like, 1 level of leap and actually have it up sometimes. It's pretty dramatic at level 1, 15 seconds. It's just nice. Starstorm Scepter recharge time was reduced again. They're really trying to get people to buy Ags, even though it's really bad. I remember when it was, I think, 11 seconds, and now it's 8. So they really want Starstorm, the Ags, to be bought. I just don't think that it's generally worth it, but it's getting closer. because since the damage, obviously before, the reason you wouldn't buy it is because it's expensive. It does help you farm, but now it helps you farm faster because of how often it's up. And on top of that, the DPS compared to a right-click Mirana is looking better and better. So this is getting closer to the spot where it needs to be for people to pick up Ags again, but I don't know if it's there yet. Early game attribute shift nerf just for how much it gives you to its agility and strength, because it gives you bonus agility and strength when you take it. It's not a huge deal, but just the early game means it's going to be harder for Morphling to get the attack speed, damage, armor, health, magic resistance. This means it's easier to kill Morphling earlier because he has less stats as he gets attribute shift, because it's like he always takes attribute shift. So it's going to be a lot easier to kill him, and he's going to get last hits harder. He'll have to shift more agility just to have the agility to get the last hits, meaning he'll have even less strength. So it's a big deal. Because think about it this way. So if you just took away the strength and not the agility, right? So the agility keeps this thing. The strength keeps this one, but the agility is lower. He'll then have to shift strength into agility anyway, thus lowering his strength pool. But the strength bonus was reduced too. So if he wants the same agility he had before, he has to shift a lot of strength over, which was already lowered by it having a lower thing. So his health will be dramatically lower to have the same last hitting power, and I think this is a pretty dramatic change to Morphling. It's only going to matter early game, mind you, so he'll start catching up really fast, but it still matters. Ogre, huge buffs. Multicast item, multicast buffer range increased, meaning when he has an item that might multicast, it's like easier for it to like hit that. It's just like a quality of life, more or less. Multicast bloodlust, multicast radius was increased, so it's easier to get bloodlust on everybody. The interval for multicast was also increased, meaning that if you stun someone with like a 4 times ignite, it'll go stun, wait longer than it did before by 0.1 seconds, stun, wait longer than it did by 0.1 seconds, stun. So a quadcast ignite should have an increased stun of 0.3, I believe, because it stuns first and then it waits, stuns, waits, stuns, waits, stuns. So it should be an increase of 0.3 second stun from a quadcast. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it kind of is. It's just a longer stun for somebody who already have pretty heavy stuns when he multicasts. So this is really cool. I don't know. I think it's nice. He has bigger health and damage from the talents. Ogre's in a better place now. I think this is a really big change. It's nice. Fortune's End mana cost was increased because Fortune's End is pretty strong to root people. It's kind of needed. PA. More health, which nobody... I don't like that as a 10 talent. The damage is nice, but it is tempting now just to give you survivability against nukes. So it's nice. The Blur Evasion I don't usually take, but it's tempting now because even with... Absolutely, and furry. Even with the fact that someone might have an MKB, your evasion is actually nuts. I think PA's evasion caps out at 60%. 50. So 50% plus 25 is 75% evasion. That means you have to have an MKB. You will not hit her ever, and that is a big thing. Like, it's crazy. I think it stacks diminishingly, but still. Imagine buying a butterfly on top of that. You'd have like 90% evasion. It's nuts. Her 25 talent before her 5 coup de grace increased proc was nice. But the triple strike dagger just felt really good. But now the fact that it's 10% extra chance of her critting, which increases it to 25% chance of a crit, which means 1 out of every 4 hits crits, that's too much. I hate this. It's going to be too strong, I think. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it every time I play PA. Like, the idea of her crit, which does a 4.5 times crit, being a 25% chance to happen is too big. Okay, I believe that in Frey. That's probably true. That's probably true. This is, like, huge. I might actually take the Blur talent, which I never did before. I think the armor's really big, though, so it's kind of... It's actually a tough choice now, because the armor's really big, but, like, the Blur evasion's also big. So I think this talent was needed to change, because it actually gives you incentive to do it. But the coup de grace is so big. Juxtaposed illusion damage increased from 18 to 20. This is... I'm going to increase my volume. A little bit. This is really big, because obviously the fact that he has so many illusions... 2% doesn't seem like a lot, but if he's doing about 200 damage... 10% of 200 is 20, so divide by 5 is 4. So each of them will do about 4 damage more if he's doing 200 damage each. So it's 4, 8, 20. Like, they're gonna hit you really fast too. So it's like, you know, before you know it, let's just say they're all hitting you at the same time. So it's like 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, like that. So you're gonna start getting damage really fast. And of course, you have armor, but still, that's a big deal. Flesh Heap health regen was increased by 1 at all levels. This is really big because that health regen is one of the biggest things they've ever changed about Pudge. To buff it again means that just that 1 level of Flesh Heap just gives you so much ability to trade in lane. It makes him a bigger presence just existing in lane because he can actually walk in and just right-click somebody and live from it. It's pretty efficient. His talent for the slow, I always liked the slow, but the lifesteal was tempting too to keep you alive. Now the slow is increased by 4. I mean, this is bringing it back to its former glory because Rot's been nerfed a couple times and moved slow back in the day. So now it's like really back in its glory. This is huge. I would always take the slow now, I think. It just keeps people stuck in you. Even if they have face boots or whatever, they can't get away. It's too big. Life Drain got a damage increase at level 2 and 3. It's notable. 50 at level 3 is pretty big, actually. I think it helps too because when you cast into an ally, you channel more into them too. So it gives him more of a support presence. Because now he can actually heal faster on his carries. So I think this is a really nice change. I don't see a lot of Pugnas, even though he's a decent hero, so I like to see this. Ricky is so frustrating now. I hate him. So, base health regen was reduced. Sounds good, right? Wait. Cloak and Dagger fade delay was buffed at earlier levels, so he fades quicker. That's fine. Cloak and Dagger now provides HP regen like it used to back in the day. Level 1, it immediately equals out, so he has the same regen, and most Rickies take Cloak and Dagger level 1, so no nerf at all. And then it starts getting better, of course, so he's going to have more HP regen. So it's even harder to, like, just wear Ricky down, I guess. So annoying. In addition, his 15 talent for Smoke, it's always been better. I just like to hit Crit Strike because I'm greedy. But now that they've reduced the cooldown again, so 8 seconds off of Smoke. Let's take a look at Smoke.
The phantom creeps in.
Smoke is an 11-second cooldown. Oh, I didn't even check how long it lasts. 11-second cooldown that lasts 6 seconds. So it already was up most of the time. So now it's going to be a 3-second cooldown that lasts 6 seconds. That's too good. It was already too good, but now it's way too good. He's just going to put silences down literally everywhere, and the mischance is so heavy. Like, it's so big. I hate this. Aghanim Scepter regen bonus was increased from 25 to 35. I mean, he's immortal inside his own Ags. I don't think that's necessarily broken just because he's alone in that regard, so you just ignore him, but it's pretty big. Health regen talent went up at 10 too, so he has even more health if he stacks those. So count that as 10 plus 2, so 12. I'm not saying you take that at 10, just as an idea. That's 12 extra HP regen on top of everything else. Like, that's so big. It's 40. It's 43 HP regen. That's so big. It's Alchemist. His health talent at 15 went up too, making the like just a tanky slaughter more of a viable strategy. And you just take the health regen, health. You probably still take the night vision, but you could take lifesteal. And then there's the stun cooldown, so you can just stun people and just be a nuisance. Nether Strike bonus damage was reduced at earlier levels, making it harder for Spiritbreaker to get early game kills. This is really going to hurt his roaming game at level 6. I know it's 30 damage, but it matters. It really does. He's still a good roamer. He's really not a roamer, but he kind of roams. But this does hurt. Sven, huge nerfs. Base damage reduced by 2. This makes it harder to last hit. Also makes it less punishing when he hits you for trading. Stormhammer cooldown was nerfed at earlier levels. Delete Spiritbreaker, fair. I think that the cooldown increase is really needed because Stormhammer is a very strong stun. It's going to make it harder for Sven to just like have a mango and just like push you out of lane basically. He does less damage. Stormhammer's longer cooldown. Warcry, its base health was reduced at later levels. That's a really big change actually. That's like one less right click for supports to get through it. So that's nice. Here's nerf all across the board. He needed it. Techie's got a base int increase of 3. That means he has a bigger mana pool, more damage for denying, actually. Techie's can actually almost deny now. And he actually has kind of a harass game. This is a pretty big change. I don't know how I feel about it, realistically speaking. It's nice. Techie's probably needed it. He's probably more of a hero now. With the base mana regen increase he got and this, he's probably actually more of a hero. He can kind of affect a lane now with a little bit of harass. That's just enough to put him into a viable hero category, in my opinion. So he's probably okay. Reflection no longer provides bonus damage when attacking allied units. That means if you're called by Winter Wyvern or for denying purposes. That's a pretty big change. I like this a lot. It just means TA isn't afraid of using Refraction in those circumstances. Conjure images take less damage. No, it's fine. I'm glad they buffed him. He needed it. I think the damage reduction on a Conjure Image hurts a lot because you want to clear these illusions as fast as possible when he metas, and now it's like, well, they take even less damage. They still take a lot, but it's just even harder. You have to actually commit to killing them. This is painful too. Tinker buffs, great. Base hit increased by 2. That's last hitting. That's denying. That's mana pool. That's damage amp early, especially. Heat-seeking missile cooldown was reduced. I do not think that is a huge deal because he's usually, you know, doesn't have the mana to spam in lane. Let alone the fact that later game it doesn't. He can spam whatever he wants because of ult. But it does help a little bit in the laning for sure. It's a really low cooldown now. That's actually crazy. Like crazy. But the base int is huge. Honest. It's big. Pit of Malice AoE increased from 390 to 400. That's really nice. They did this once before. They're doing it again. They're making it so Pit of Malice is a gigantic area of denial. I love this about Underlord. He's such a strong hero, and I'm glad to see them buffing him more. He's basically the only like strong offlaner now. Like, just honest. He's so good. This is so big. Even just for running away, it's even that more likely that somebody gets rooted an additional time to help you get away. His talent for move speed went up, which I love just for like the survivable, just helping your team out kind of build. He's so fast. Cast range increase of 15. I usually take that because I'm not usually going for a right-click build, but if you do go for a right-click build, instead of the temporary 15 it used to give you per, like, whatever died, now it's a permanent. So when you get the permanent whenever someone dies near you with your aura, now if you take the talent, you get more permanent when they die near you. Which is really interesting to think about because that means you can stack damage real fast. So you can actually build a right-click Underlord. It would work. Honest, it would just work. I can see this happening a lot. You would take the move speed to catch people. You would take the permanent damage, the attack speed, and then probably the Pit of Malice route just to keep people near you. And you just run at them. So it depends. It can be. The reason why it's not always great is because you might not be around enough kills if you're dying in team fights for your team. The cast range is really nice, especially considering the pit buff. So you can cast it ahead of them, and it's like a huge, gigantic pit. But a lot of the time, I think we're going to see the damage, just because even on supports, damage can be a big deal for pushing and stuff. I think most games, the damage is going to be better, but there are games and cast range is going to matter. Base hit increased Unvenged by 2. That just helps her casting because she's an agility hero. It just helps her get a bigger mana pool. Base damage increased by 2. So Venge is a really good support now. This trading, the trading in lane is big. It also makes her a better carry, technically speaking, because some people play her carry. It's nice. I think Venge kind of needed it. Cool. Viper. Poison attack damage piercing health was increased at all levels by 0.25. This means that for like scale, if you're missing 100 health, you take an additional 25 damage on top of that you did before. So like now at like when you before, if you were missing 100 health, you'd take 100 health per tick for 3 ticks, right? So 3 ticks. So you'd be missing 100 and you'd take 100. Obviously be lower at that point, but whatever. Something like that at max level. But now it's even more, just 0.25 more. So 25% extra damage on this ability at level 4. It's big. It's so big. Like, that's so much damage. With an Atos, in keeping inside another toxin, which multiplies this damage anyway because of the magic resistance reduction, I can totally see Viper being like really strong now. That's big. Soul Assumption damage increased from 65 to 75. That's just a nice change. Because it gets charges, so it's kind of multiplied. Damage per missing health percentage. Got it. So if you're missing 1% health, it ticks for 1.25 damage, right? So if you're at 50% health. If you're at 50% health, it does 50 plus, what is it? A quarter of 50 is around 15. So 65 tick. So you used to take a 50 tick, now you take a 65 tick when you're at 50% health. So as you get lower health, it starts to be pretty dramatic, actually. It's pretty big. So my bad. I knew that wasn't right when I said the first time. I just didn't know how to fix it, but I'm glad you said that. That's what I meant. I don't know. I was crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. I knew the Viper didn't do that much damage. I just didn't really think about it. Fatal Bonds cooldown. Oh, I was saying this. This is just a nice talent for Soul Assumption because this and this together, I mean, Soul Assumption can actually do some serious damage. Because the way, if I'm correct, it does gather damage thresholds, max charges, damage per charge. Okay, so the base damage increased, which is just flat. And this is flat too. So the damage actually isn't that crazy. No, that's per charge. I'm sorry, that's per charge. I didn't say so. So that's 5 with a potential of charges of 6. So that's potentially 30 more damage on this one and 10 on that. So it actually can kind of scale up. That's nice. All the Visage is too strong anyway, but whatever. Fatal Bonds cooldown increased at earlier levels to stop abuse of Fatal Bonds in lane. That's a really big nerf to Warlock. It's huge, actually. Fatal Bonds no longer bounces on Roshan. That's nice. It shouldn't. It really just shouldn't. This is a big nerf, too. Because it really shouldn't help you kill Roshan. It also shouldn't help you use Roshan to kill other people. Fatal Bonds considers units with another Fatal Bonds as lower priority. So that means that if you hit... this is a buff and a nerf. It's a buff because if you get a bad Fatal Bonds, it links one person to all creeps, but you somehow like have it on low enough cooldown or whatever, or it gets refreshed. It's low enough cooldown as you level it anyway. That you can recast and hope to catch the rest of the team in it. And it won't just re-hit the creeps and say, haha, screw you. But on the opposite side, if you hit 2 heroes and you want it to refresh, because it will refresh if you cast it again, now it'll try to avoid those heroes if there's enough units available to avoid those heroes, and you won't get the chance to refresh it. So it's good mostly, but it could be bad. Base armor increased by 1 on Zeus. This makes it better for him a little trading. He doesn't really trade in lane with right clicks, but still. It's nice to know he won't die so easily from people trying to dive him mid. And static field's damage was increased percentage-wise. It does damage proportional to your current health, so obviously it does less as you get your health lowered, realistically speaking, but still, 1% it's a big deal. 12% of your health is pretty large when you have full health. You know? So of this change, and it actually took me a little less time than I thought. It really was around 30 minutes. You know, most of this is just little things. Like, I'd say little, actually this is kind of big, but not too big. Little, annoying, but little, let me see. This is a big deal, actually. Drow's gonna do a lot more damage, to be honest with you. Huge nerf across the board, huge nerf. Screw you, Ember Spirit. Huge nerf to late game Grimstroke. I'm gonna love this. I hate his ult. This is a pretty big buff, actually. I think this you're gonna see a lot more cold snaps being taken at 15 versus Forge Spirit. Huge nerf. Oh, favorite nerf. Pretty big early game nerf. I think we're gonna see Morphling being easier to kill in lane. Whatever. It's a big buff, but it's not huge. Yeah. This is actually a pretty big buff. I think this is changing Pugna pretty significantly. I would play Pugna mid, potentially. Annoying buff. One of my least favorites. Not even that notable, honestly. This is probably a big enough buff to mention. I think this is pretty big. I think Tinker is going to be played a lot more frequently now. He was falling out of the meta. With the last buff, it didn't seem to be enough. He's going to be played more. Huge buffs. Love it. Especially this talent to the atrophy. He has so much potential now in so many different ways. Viper mid is going to be more common. That's mostly it. So to my heroes, not a lot of changes to my carries, realistically speaking. But I'm pretty happy to see, you know, some of the changes to my roaming heroes. And I'm glad to see that if I do play mid, I can play Tinker and it'll be more viable. I can play Pugna, it'll be more viable, you know. I'm definitely happy about Pudge. I think Pudge is kind of an underutilized hero, but he's also kind of a bad hero. I think that the changes they've been giving him recently are going to put him just a little bit better. I actually would like to see his win rate. Trends. His win rate's below 50 at my level. Earlier levels just place him a little bit above 50. Yeah, I mean, at my level, the pick rate is 32, which is pretty high, actually. But he's much higher as you go down. It's like near 50. Wow. That means 50% of games have a Pudge in it at Guardian and Crusader. That's nuts. It goes down at my level. It's 42. It's still pretty high, but it's not like tremendous. It just goes down sharply from there. Like my level, you don't see as many. It's the third of games. So I would like to, I'm wondering if we're going to see a trend, because it hasn't hit yet. It hasn't hit yet, but I'm wondering if we're going to see a trend where Pudge starts to go up in his win rate. His win rate kind of takes a sharp decline, so I don't know. I'm wondering how Tinker's sitting too, since we're here anyway.
I carry a charge.
His pick rate's still below 10% at all levels. His win rate's only really good at Divine. I wonder if we'll get a buff. It's an interesting concept to think about. A little bit of a jump. I don't know. Oh well, just things to think about, I suppose. I'm going to end the stream here, but I will find someone to raid who is playing Dead by Daylight, because that was primarily what I was playing today. So I don't want to raid someone playing Dota because, you know, why bother? I'll also be playing this Tuesday regardless. So anybody playing Dead by Daylight that I want to actually go to, sure, someone who actually has a face cam. Oh, they have tons of followers. Whatever. No biggie. So we're going to raid Umbra. First person I found. Oops, I actually have to do raid before that. They have way more viewers, 13,000, but no big deal. Still nice to help other people out, I suppose. Which is, you know, we like to do both, I suppose. So I'm back this Tuesday to play some more Dota 2. On the weekend, I will be planning pretty deeply about what I'm going to play this coming weekend. We'll see. I have some ideas anyway. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time.